What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and I'm back for the final Stranger Things. I've tried to avoid everyone else's reaction to this. I haven't looked at, the other reviews and recaps I've been trying. They come across my feed, and I'm like, no. I I don't want it to be affected because like I did my recap of episode 7 before the internet decided to like firebomb it. I love how people firebomb things too, and they just come through and they downvote it. The trolls get in there, and then somebody comes along later on and they're like, "Huh, look at that! It got downvoted. It's the lowest score that the." I got a push notification saying something about how it's the lowest rated South Park episode, South Park season ever on IMDb. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm sure. I'm sure people have found out how to use IMDb and how to downvote things. I'm sure if you look at it, there's a whole bunch of ones. Ever since I saw that Snow White was at like 1.4 or something like that on IMDb, I'm like, that's way too low. Like, it's not a good movie, but you have it. You have it down there like Plan 9 from Outer, or actually even I think lower than Plan 9 from Outer Space. So, uh, yeah, I mean, the thumbs downing is real in Hollywood, sadly. The ability for people to en masse, and used to be a website called Vote for the Worst, where they basically congregated people together and they voted for who they perceived to be the worst person that was on American Idol, and tried to get that person through. And it gained a lot of attention when Sanjaya was on the show, and Howard Stern gave the website a lot of push and promotion. So it's been happening for a long time, and it doesn't surprise me that it happened to the episode in which Well came out, which I had thoughts on. My thoughts were less about the actual doing it and more the this feels more like Noah than it does Will, because the coming out feels more like a 2025 way of doing it than a 1987 way of doing it. But they don't have time to invest you in the whole AIDS crisis of the 80s. All of the reasons when he says, you know, that you will be scared or worried for me or anything like that, they haven't been able to shape that world at all. Like, they haven't had time to bring homophobia into the show because it's busy on doing other things. So the whole 80s, Reagan era view on being gay in America was just it's not here, you know. But yeah, he's basically trying to come out in the Angels in America period. Like it's not quite the same thing, and it felt more like Noah. But I don't dislike the existence of the sequence. like, um, so yeah, it felt more modern than it needed to. And then, oh my God, we get to the end of this thing, and it's like 18 months later, and then they graduate, and I'm like, oh my, Jesus, you're not even in their senior year? I know I wasn't paying attention to like what grade they're in, but oh my God, this isn't even their senior year. Like, why? You can control the time jumps. I know we still want them to be kids, but you mean this is not their senior year? Just, oh God, there's like a whole another year. No, this show's taking forever. Um, I thought for sure that because of how old everybody looks, it should just be like, and they're all like in their 20s, that they'd be like, oh, well, they must be seniors at least, right? No, no, they're juniors. Oh, anyway, so we pick up where we left off with Vecna's world, and Dustin's theory, because he's the world-renowned scientist, Neil deGrasse Dustin, and he has surmised correctly that the planet is colliding and that the upside down was just a bridge. So everybody rallies together for the team effort. We see it all coming together. And this thing is really hard to recap. I just kind of want to review it, but So I'm gonna brush through this, and if you want somebody else to recap it for you in greater detail, fine. Um, I'm not that concerned with it. It's like 2 hours, and I don't like recap movies, so some of that is way too long. So it merges. They go up the tower. A whole bunch of them go into the new world. There's that Neil Armstrong joke, like "suck it, Neil Armstrong." Like, we're intergalactic travelers. Um, and then they wander through that world, and uh, eventually, so the other thing that happens is like Max, who's being looked after by Vicky, ends up joining 11 and got her Callie in as 11 has entered Vecna's mind or whatever, and entered that world. She's using her powers, and Callie is using it to create like because she creates, what they're not holograms, like alternate realities within an alternate. I don't know, which something like that. So she's creating something that helps bring Max in because she has no powers. You would think she does, with everybody who keeps getting close to Vecna, like having some sort of like. I half expected the kids in this to have some sort of power after being affected by Vecna, sort of like what Will does. And then like all 12 of them just being like, the power of one, the power of many. Um, and so being very like weapons, I think that would have been great. I mean, I like ultimately who delivers the final blow on Vecna, but also a very weaponsy type ending to Vecna would have been kind of fun. Um, so they go into his mind and they convince the kids because at first, like the other kids who are not, Derek and Holly are like monster. Max is like, no, I can prove it to you. So they all hide in the other room, and 11 basically uses herself as bait and uh, gets Vecna to reveal himself as the monster and not, like move past his Henry skin, so to speak. And because they make it look like that they got all the kids out, and she stayed behind. And the kids are like, "Oh my god, you're right. He's a monster." And I'm like, "Yeah, of course he is. You thought that you thought the monster was the skateboarder girl." Anyway, so they leave and run to the cave, and there's a big chase. And eventually, Will tries to stop him because, Vecna has to get to the kids, so he has to conquer his fear of the cave. And we see that flashback, and it's how he was created because there was like some rock and it took Henry over, and so he was merged. It's sort of like with Venom. Henry is Venom. um, so Will is like, "You can fight it. You don't have to." And he's like, "I don't want. It's me. Good. We don't need to redeem Vecna or Henry." So, um, he ends up turning into this giant fucking monster thing, and then 11 like flies into the center of it, and there's a final boss fight, and Nancy's there with like a shotgun, and this thing, there's like some giant monster thing that could just step on her at any moment. And I've skipped over some things I'll go back to. Um, so while they were in there, 11 ends up glitching out because Vecna attacks Hopper with like and alters his reality. So Hopper thinks he's shooting at Vecna, but he's actually shooting at the tank and cracking the tank. And it shows him, the tank with bullet holes, and the bullet holes got into 11, but even that's bullshit. Like, Vecna creates like two bullshit realities. Like, 11's fine inside the tank, and Hopper didn't shoot her. And, but he breaks open the tank that is letting 11 in. So they have to find a new place. So they run with Callie, and Murray is on the roof of the building. Murray's there too. The four of them are in this mission together. And the stormtroopers come in, and I'm thinking to myself during this time, the fuck is this military doing? Like, honestly, did anybody ever actually stop and ask themselves? I know that the Duffer Brothers were really like thinking about their cool little cameo. There's like some people, even the audio description clocked it. There are people at the end that are at the graduation and they're wearing, they're like caterers or photographers or something, and they're wearing shirts that say Duffer on them. Um, so are they too like concerned about their own cameos to ask themselves the question of what is the military doing here? You know, like at a certain point, they've kind of questioned Dr. K before, and there's like a planet colliding with our planet, and that doesn't seem to be odd to anyone. I mean, I know that they've seen the upside down, and there's this alternate dimension, but there's a whole bunch of people who are just really not asking questions. None of them seem to be noticing anything. Nothing is strange to them. Nobody's like, we should probably get out of here, right? I mean, this planet got close enough that a radio tower was their entry point for it. Not, you know, we're not in Dubai on like the tallest towers in the world. That's a that's a radio tower, and this world isn't crashed. And I know that the Duffer Brothers didn't have time to talk about how the rest of the world, saw this thing coming in on them and got that close. Because if it got that close to a radio tower, it got probably a lot closer to a lot of other things that are taller than the radio tower. We're also in Indiana. It's not the most mountainous place in the country. I don't know that we thought these things through, but whatever, right? It's for fun. It's for funsies. So, yeah, Callie gets shot and killed because they needed to kill somebody in this episode. I said they would only kill one person, and I was like, they don't have the testicular fortitude to do anything meaningful here. And I didn't even count Callie as a series regular, but I guess she is. The actress Cara Buono, I guess, got up to series regular, so they could kill her off. I guess that's been her name, like in the credits the whole time, because they do a scroll of the names. So Callie's the biggest death, because they pull some bamboozlement with the other one. Like a what if? In case we want to do another season, what if? I hate you guys. I is it that hard to sacrifice one character at the end? Like to have one person? I know, like it's so tough, right? It's so hard to pick which one, who makes the sacrifice, who's the character, who's the one that's the most expendable, who's the one that's gonna get the fan backlash. You know what, fans? As you firebomb Stranger Things, fuck you. It's it's you guys got us here. Like the fans of Stranger Things that wouldn't shut up about Barb have made them really like kind of like, oh god, what happens if we kill off that character? I don't know, man. The fans. What do we kill off that? I don't know. The fans. What we could kill off now? The fans. Don't you remember Barb? Do you want to relive Barb? It's amazing that they kill off Eddie, like that they had the oh god, I guess they thought Callie was the Eddie of the season, except she was only in like 3 episodes, and the emotional weight of it is pretty much nothing. I mean, Eleven's sad, but she's more sad about losing Callie than Mike is about losing his dad, who died a couple episodes ago, but we never mention it. We don't talk about it. We've moved on. Um, Everybody lived. They all live. All of them. There's a giant monster stomping around in a dimension they've never been in, a world they've never been in, with these crazy powers. Vecna, right? Like crazy powers. And everyone's just like wandering around, and they've just got like Mike's armed with like a flare gun. Like I just There's a scene where they do a fake out death on Steve, and then they have Jonathan pull him up, and it's like, you almost did it. You almost did it. You almost, and then you chickened out. And it does this like fake out blackout thing too, where it makes you look like Steve is actually plummeting to his death, but he's really not. I'm like, what was even the point of that? There are no commercial breaks. Like, I guess there are if you have, because you can have Netflix with commercials now, I think. But I don't think they planned it. I don't think Netflix was like, we'll put a commercial here for the people who are paying for the ad block of Netflix. So it's fun. It gave me a lot of what I wanted because, like, yeah, I don't want them all to die. Like, if this series had gone like the other way with it and killed too many people, I'd be like, oh my god, Jesus. Well, guys, Erica lived. Like, everyone else is dead. Erica was the only one that didn't. It's just, I'm as surprised as you are. But um, yeah, no, everybody lives except for Callie and maybe 11 because she's standing at a gate, and then Will notices something and he brings it up later. It's one of those things where the Duffer Brothers can like walk it back if they want to. They're like, oh, let's walk it, but let's go ahead and walk it back now, so that way fans who are questioning, so that they can live in the we'll connect the dots for them, right? So we'll have him explain it to us because they already show you with the um this is where like you have to have faith in your audience. Like I saw the oh god, what is the test, the Amsterdam, the Copenhagen test, and that's one of the dumbest series I've ever seen, and it treats its audience like we're a bunch of idiots. Also, this one kind of does that too because there's even as a blind person I picked up on this, right? So if I can pick up on it, I think I should be able to hold sighted people to account. So Mike is at graduation and he's thinking about 11 and or he's at was he at the he goes to like a memorial thing or whatever first, and then somebody's like Hopper goes there and is like, oh, you got to go to graduation. Yeah, sometimes you just have to accept those her choice and you have to move on. At some point, Mike remembers that the Sonic things were faced in Eleven's direction, and he was like, "Well, how how, she wasn't in pain or anything like that 'cause she's in this like bridge between the worlds." And so yeah, I mean he's flashbacking to a conclusion where yeah, I mean, we get it. You're leaving the door open. Got it. No, he has to explain it later on. They're playing Dungeons and Dragons, and he talks about the future for all of his friends because they play like one last game. And he's like, well, the paladin will grow up to do this, and then the hunter will go up to do this, and he goes through all of his friends and like what their futures will be like. And he gets to Eleven's character, the mage, and is like, well, she'll be fine, or and they're like, what do you mean? And so his theory is, of course, that Callie was still alive and hadn't died, and was alive just long enough to be able to create an illusion for 11. So that way she was hiding somewhere else, but was projecting the image to the gate to make people think she was at the gate and think she had died, but really she had gotten out. So everybody isn't looking for her because she's dead. We never really finish off the Dr. K thing. She like lives at the end of this, so she goes off on her own thing too. It's a weird choice. But yeah, they just vanish from the town. The military, everybody just vanishes. Like a whole bunch of soldiers were killed. Hopper just ran through the military. Like, just I don't know how many soldiers he killed, and he's back to just being the police officer of the town. It's like they were all just like, yeah, no harm, no foul. We killed some people. You killed some people. We're even. Just leave. So, uh, I don't know, man. I there's stuff that I really liked about the Stranger Things finale, and there's stuff that I was just like, this is a bit much. uh, like the whole like second half of this episode is basically just like a prologue. That like the first half is the fight, and then the second half is just like afterward, and then you're just going through everybody's lives and you're seeing everybody and what they're doing and how everybody's getting their happy ending except Eleven, and they're just sad that Eleven's not there. And literally, Mike never mentions his father. Like Mike, Nancy, Holly, Karen. Nobody has any like. They they couldn't even work in a line at Mike's graduation where Karen looks at Mike and goes, "I wish your dad could be here to see you." Like, he's just gone. He's just he's just off the show. I don't know. He's just vanished. Um, they made you forget, you know. So I don't know. It is what it is. I Is this the strongest finale that we could have ever? No, it's not. Um, it's really hard with finales to appease everyone, and I acknowledge that because people go into things wanting different things from finales and expecting that perfection in a finale of like who lives, who dies, who lives to tell the story, who's the hero, you know, who gets to have the final blow. Now, I thought it was excellent that they gave it to Joyce, you know, for all of the shit that Vecna put her son through. She just kind of looks at him and just chops his. Well, it takes a while, but she got a couple of swings on that head, and eventually decapitates Vecna while he's impaled. So, uh, yeah, performances good, but man, they were really like trying to like tie up loose endings. I'm surprised like uh, Max and Lucas didn't get married. Like Joyce and Hopper get engaged at like the end of this, and it shows you the next generation downstairs like playing D&D, like the kids that just survived. So like D&D lives on. There are grown adults that still play D&D. I don't. It didn't die. Like these guys are probably still going to play D&D. They just have to go away to college, and then they'll play D&D with other people who play it there. So, um, but the Hellfire Club shirt was a nice touch. That Dustin, you know, he takes off his thing. He gives his speech, and it's a rousing speech, and then he takes off his gown. Underneath is the Hellfire shirt. So, uh, but his speech about like how it brought everybody together, I'm like, what happened to the bullies? Like, where did they go? Did you just get your ass beat at the beginning of this? What do you mean that this brought us together? Did they die? In the in every are they still there? Because they seemed pretty like unanimously pissed off. Did they just calm down after 18 months? I think a popular girl talks to Dustin at the end of this and invites him to a party. And he's like really excited about that. So we choices were made, but choices were made to give them all like the happiest ending possible for everybody but Callie. Everybody but Callie. And when I was predicting deaths, I didn't even bother with Callie because I didn't really count her as being like, I thought they would actually kill somebody who had been with us the whole time. And they did not. I was like, I don't know. I feel like Murray could go. They haven't really been giving him much to do except wisecrack the whole time. Steve felt very expendable this season. Like they don't really know what to do with him. I could have seen Jonathan or Nancy, especially considering they broke up and they stayed broken up, which is great, by the way. That was like the one thing I was like, oh, thank God those two didn't get back together. We didn't heal them as well. Um, but uh, the season, see, I grade seasons. I don't go in there and do episode after episode. So yeah, no, my season's fresh because overall, I liked a lot of it. I liked a lot of what was going on this season, and my biggest complaints. There were a couple little like, you know, uh, circumstantial things that are just kind of like, well, of course that would happen. You know, I wish we had talked about Mike's father, you know, those kind of things. But the acting is still fire. Thought everybody did a great job. Some people are bitching about Millie Bobby Brown, but it wouldn't be the internet if some people weren't bitching about Millie Bobby Brown. So that's just the internet that we live in. Um, she's doing something right now. Rachel Ziegler's not, so they have to bounce around their targets. I'm sure after this, Brie Larson will be doing something that amounts to Brie Larson. So uh, it gets a little predictable after a while, but I I don't have a problem with the acting. I think the cast is great. I loved watching them grow up. They're all fine actors now, and I hope they all successfully move on to other projects. I'm kind of interested to see what they do after this. Um, I, I they didn't want to make 5 seasons to begin with. They didn't even want to make four. I think they wanted to make three, and they got stretched to four, and then they stretched to five. So hopefully the Duffer Brothers really aren't considering like more Stranger Things stuff, and they just leave it alone. But I have a feeling that's not the case, and we'll get like Stranger Things spinoffs in the way that we're getting like Game of Thrones spinoffs, um, because Netflix has money. The same way we're getting Squid Game spinoffs, right? So it's like not that Squid Game, but it's like other Squid Games. So um, yeah, I mean, we can't let anything die. And in day and age of era and franchises, people think it's just like a superhero thing. It's not. It's not just a superhero thing. I mean, look at your precious Dune. There's a Dune TV series, Dune Prophecy, and we're looking at Dune 3. If you think that's going to be the end of Dune, you're mistaken. So, uh, as long as it's not 11, the Stranger Things, where they're like, hey, remember that thing that we had Mike tell you all about? Yeah, that happened in 11's. Now we're on a solo journey with 11. But uh, I do think this is a down from last season. I think 4 was great. I think Eddie and Max and everything, that whole arc was excellent. This season, Max was one of my favorite parts of the season. She's really one of my favorite parts of the series. I love Sadie Singh. I thought Hopper has some really great moments. Joyce has some really great moments. Noah Schnapp for a long time really wasn't doing anything as well, and then they just gave him a whole bunch of things to do. I'm not sure he's my favorite actor, but I'm glad he had more to do here since the series kind of began with him. And even though he was more like a concept, like they were looking for him, um, he has always felt like he's the quiet one of the bunch, like the fragile one. And so to see him kind of grow and get uh, that's been rewarding for the series. I'm glad we didn't forget. Like Erica could have easily just not participated at all, but I'm glad they found ways for keeping some of those characters in. I wasn't expecting them to kill off Erica, so, but I'm sure the internet has their thoughts, and we will hear them forever and ever. I'm gonna give Stranger Things season 5. I'm gonna give it a 7.9 out of 10. There you go. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.